This may just be one of the most valuable Shopify tutorials you watch if you're just getting started or thinking about starting a Shopify store. This is not a, hype up guru, become a millionaire overnight Shopify video. I'm not going to be telling you that you can put it together a store in 20 minutes and, there you go, you're going to become a millionaire. Easy as that. That is not me at all. I only do things if I genuinely believe in it, and I do it for real value and offering real value that's going to actually help you. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to be taking my background in marketing, copywriting, and web design that I've been in now for nearly 10 years, and to create a truly valuable video for those of you who are just thinking about getting started with a Shopify store. I want to give you a no fluff, no hype, no gimmicks, no BS guide to getting started with Shopify. So if that sounds of interest to you, then well done for clicking on this video. Without further ado, let's get into today's video. Let's go. So number one, and this one is the foundation to everything, and that is know your why. Now, this one is the one that so many people overlook, and they don't think about the deeper reasons or their why. There's a famous quote that is, I'm going to paraphrase it here because I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's, he who knows his why can bear almost any how. And so what that basically means is that once you know your why, you can bear like anything that you're going to have to go through to get there. And starting a Shopify store, there's going to be ups and downs. Starting anything, doing anything different, starting your own thing, going out there, starting something new, it's gonna require effort, sacrifices, setbacks, and all those. So knowing your why makes it easier to deal with those things. So the foundational thing that I see so many people just completely forget about, but if they do it, and when they do it, that's when you get the power, is figuring out your why. So why are you doing this? Are you doing this for financial freedom? And there's absolutely nothing wrong for that. I know a lot of you, that's probably what it is. So that might be what it is. Or maybe it's for, you've got a goal to, you want to make money so you can go overseas, you want to go traveling, you want financial freedom, you want the freedom to travel. Or maybe it's, you want the money to, pay something off, or whatever it is. There's going to be some kind of bigger why that you're doing it for. And once you figure out what that why is, hone in on it, you write that down, you make it into a purpose for yourself, something that is a guiding post that you're moving towards. I promise you, instead of having to push yourself, you'll now be pulled to making Shopify a success for you. So number one is find your why. Number two is be valuable. Now, what I mean by this is either solve a problem, be unique in some way, fill a need, do something of true value. Overall, that's what I mean, is just do something that is actually valuable to people. Something that I cannot stand, and this might not be a good thing to be saying in the Shopify space, but I just cannot stand seeing these people creating these drop shipping things for just the most basic things, little gimmick crappy things that don't do anything for anyone, and they're just gimmicky stuff, and then they wonder why they're not making sales on their drop shipping thing and that like that. And if you go into this with the mindset of this is just going to be some quick and easy thing, I'm going to just sell some crappy thing that I don't even know anything about, I'm just going to put it online and people are going to want to buy it. I don't really care if it's not good for the actual person using it, it's not actually valuable for them, or it's crap for the environment, as long as it's going to make me a bit of money, well, so who cares? Well, guess what? That's not going to work out for you in the long run. And it's why so many people do not make successful online stores, because they just go in there, so they think it's just going to be quick and easy, doesn't matter what it is, and it's just going to make money for them. And the truth is that so many businesses fail because they're not going in first with actually wanting to deliver value. If you go in there with actually wanting to give value to the marketplace, whether that is filling a problem, finding something that is, that maybe it's been a problem in your life, it's been something that you've had issues with, maybe it's something you've had issues with your health, maybe you've had issues with, some kind of just some kind of thing in the marketplace, just anything that maybe you've had a problem with and you've figured out how to solve it, and then how this product could solve it. Or you just look through and you find a product that's genuinely valuable, that you could do it better, you could sell it better than others, just anything like that. Just go in there with the mindset to actually serve. When you do that, it's going to make it so much more rewarding, because that part of you that wants to actually give and contribute to the world, that's in all of us. Well, at least it's in most of us. And if you actually make that your foundational thing, that you actually want to be of value, that you're going to create this store to do something that's, like I said, solving a problem, it's unique in some way, it's valuable to people, then you are going to stand out and you're going to survive, and you're going to make something that has the highest potential of being successful, because people resonate with authenticity. They resonate with things that are genuinely valuable to them. Now, this doesn't mean you don't need to go create some new product. There's so many products out there that you could sell, but find a way to, find something that's genuinely going to be valuable to people. And so, for me, I'm very big in the health and wellness space. So, supplements, things like that. That's something that I'm super passionate about. So it's just finding what is you're passionate about, something that could be valuable, something that could be unique, and that you can help to give that you can help genuinely give value to the marketplace and to others. All right, now on to number 3, and that is know your audience. Now, what I mean by this is that if you're selling to everyone, then you're selling to no one. Now this is a really big one from my copywriting and marketing background, is that you need to know your audience. Now, all of us have probably heard of find your niche, find, and that could come under this one as well, is find your niche and know your audience. But what that simply means is you want to actually know who it is that you're targeting. Don't just go out there and pick a bunch of random products that you want to sell in a Shopify store that have no correlation and don't really make any sense. And they're literally things that I've seen. Like, I look through Reddit a lot, and I look through, and people saying things like, can you look through my Shopify store and give me feedback or tell me why it might not be working? And the ones that aren't doing well are always the ones that are just selling all these random products that have literally no connection whatsoever to one another. They're just random bunch of products that they think people are going to somehow find their Shopify store, and then, come on there and be like, oh, I don't know anything about this store or trust them, but I'm going to be buying them when there's a complete lack of clarity. I don't know what I'm looking at, and I'm looking at all these random products. It's not going to happen. You need clarity, and that'll be in one of my next further ones that I'll go into a bit more. But you need to niche down, and you need to know your audience. So that's picking one niche and then serving that niche, serving that type of that audience. So for me, again, massive background in health and wellness and all that. So that's massive for me. So for an example, if you're making, want to help people in the health space, and you want to help them with improving their health, maybe you make a supplement store, and then you could then niche that down even further, and maybe you're making people just to improve their sleep. So you've got supplements to improve sleep, and that's all you do. But you could do broad supplements, or you could do niche down further, but they're still all within the health niche. But another one could be, you're doing print on demand. So maybe you need t-shirt designs or something like that. But you need to know who you want to target with that. Are you targeting mums? Are you targeting dads with your video, with your t-shirts? Are you targeting young kids? Are you targeting a fan of certain movies? Whatever it is, you just need to actually pick, an audience and a niche that you're going to target. And then that is when, they say the what is it, the riches are in the niches, because in America you guys say niches instead of here in Australia we say niche. But so the riches are in the niches. But essentially what they're saying is just when you find your audience, you figure out who you're going to serve. So who are they? Figure out who are they, what do they do, where do they hang out, what do they like to read, what do they like to watch, what do they, just get to know your customer. And the good thing about today is you can use things like ChatGPT and you can ask it these things. You can help it to figure out your audience. But firstly, you just need to pick your niche, stick to that niche, and make your products around that niche. Don't be selling millions of different things. Just pick a niche within that. That can still be broad, but they still need to be, there needs to be a clear thing about, like, it's serving something, it's serving a certain audience, a certain niche in some way. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Okay, now number 4, and that is good branding and design. Now another one that I have a bit of authority in and specialize in, especially from the web design perspective, having nearly 10 years in it, I can tell you how important design is for standing out online. You just, in this day and age, you can't be just throwing together some basic 5-minute Shopify store that just looks like everyone else's and, has no clarity, no user experience, no just, poor design and everything like that. No one is going to buy from you. Like, people already have enough skepticism, and like the moment you have a website that just is too confusing for them, they don't know what they're doing, what you sell, and there's too much going on and it's really poor design, they're just going to leave. So you need to have your branding and your design on point. So I could go so much of this could be hours long video that I could go into all this, but here's some basic pointers to know. So from a branding perspective, you want to have consistent colors throughout. So you want to pick maybe 3 to 5 colors at most and use them throughout your entire brand. So figure out what colors you like, what works well, and then make that across your entire site. And then then further on, you also want to have font. So that's part of your branding. So pick a font that you like, and use no more than 3 at most. So pick out a font that you think looks professional and it makes you unique, stand out, and just that's part of your brand and what you're about. So those 2 things, coloring, your title, your fonts, that's a massive on brand. And then just knowing what your brand represents, what it's about, all those things come together to create your brand. You want to make that consistent across everything, across social media, across your website, across everything you do. Find your branding and then stick to it. And that's like, because brands is, when you create a consistent, clear brand, that's how you stand out. And then from a design perspective, you want a clear hero. So that's your header at the top of your website. So you want a clear hero with a call to act, with a good title, and then you want a good design that's easy to go through, easy to navigate, that maybe breaks down your collections, that has different, goes through different one of your products and your categories, that gives people a little bit of a reason to actually want to buy from you. So they go into, maybe you do some pain-based things, like they go into how your product solves a certain problem, maybe a section about a little bit about you, a part of the bottom that has an email opt-in, which we'll talk to that a little bit later. But you just want to have a clear, clean, concise, professional looking design that when people come to your website, it feels trusted, it feels professional, it looks good, and people aren't confused by it and they know what to do next. Branding and design, they're super important, and you want to get those on point. So that is a really important one to make sure you get done when you're starting a Shopify store. Now, number 5 is having email marketing from day one. Now, this is another huge one that so many people sleep on, so many people overlook. So many people just don't understand how powerful email is. And I remember years ago, one of my friends, good mates, I remember saying to him, man, he was running a Shopify store. And I said, you need to be starting to gather, people's emails. And, I would kind of reinforce that to him a few times, and he eventually got onto it. And then like a year later, he's like, man, thank you so much for telling me to get onto the emails for my Shopify store, because he got to the point where he had a big enough email list that whenever you had a new product come out, a new supplement, he could write an email about it that was genuinely valuable, and he'd put that out, and then that email that was completely free for him to send, he'd send it out to his subscribers. With each email, he'd make sales and he'd make money. And that is the power of building an email list. And so it doesn't have to be difficult. You just need to have at the bottom of your website, you need to have some kind of incentive. The best one to do is just to have a free coupon, that gives a coupon away, maybe 10, 15% off, that gets their email. So you're giving them real value, and then it takes their email, adds them to a list. Then you've got that list building up, and then you can start to, give, you also want to give value to your list as well. But then occasionally you can do sales emails where you promote something, and then at the bottom you have a link to buy it, and you will be amazed by how many sales you can make once you start to build up that Shopify store. And even if you're just starting out and you're getting like 2 to 5 people visiting your store, it doesn't matter. If even one of those people signs up to your email list, that's one more person that you could start selling to down the line. So you just want to start from day one, create for yourself an email list. It's not difficult, and your future self will thank you so much to have that right from day one. Okay. That is number 5. Okay. And now number 6 is SEO, which means search engine optimization. Now this one I could go into for a long time into this one. There's a lot you could unpack and go into, but the easiest and most simple thing to get started is just to ensure that every single one of your pages, your product pages, your collections, all of them, their title, what's called their meta title, and their description is SEO optimized, which what that simply means is that they're optimized so that Google indexes them to be found in search. And now obviously there's other search platforms, but we're just talking about Google here. And so when you do this, you actually put in, you're putting in keywords that people search for, then, that gives you a higher chance of showing up in Google search. And also with time, that's becoming more and more common, you do these things right, and you can start to turn up in ChatGPT, because you move up in the ranks on Google, and then you might actually end up being recommended in the it's Google's AI overview or ChatGPT when people are asking questions, because it's gathering information from the internet as well. So SEO is super important, and just the most easiest basic way to get started is just ensuring that what are called your meta title, and your meta description have been SEO optimized. And that, again, very lucky that we're in this time and age of AI, where you can actually go through and you can use ChatGPT to figure out how to do your SEO. And I actually have a completely free video that goes into that on my channel. So if you go on my channel, and you'll find one that goes into depth into SEO. But what I've given you there should give you a good start on getting started with SEO, and obviously knowing how important it is when you're first getting started for your store. Okay, now on to number 7, and that is to have a clear plan of action. So, you've watched this video so far, and you've seen all these different things that I've said to get started. Maybe you've already started your Shopify store, but if you're watching this, maybe you haven't done that yet. And so one of the most important things that I see so many other people overlook is actually have for themselves a clear plan of action. They just jump into this, throw themselves in, and they just trying things randomly and seeing this and seeing that, and there's no clear structure for why they're even doing it. And again, we said right at the beginning, number 1 is know your why, and that's part of this one that we're talking about now. But we could go even deeper than that, is to actually create a plan for yourself. And that could be just something as simple as, some kind of basic checklist that you fill out, that your launch checklist or a launch getting started that you're going to follow, that gives you step by step that you're going to follow these and before you launch your store. So knowing that, like having that in place, so that you make sure that you got all these things in place, and you can pretty much just use this video and everything I did there, and you could make sure you've ticked off the things that I've said here. Has your store, do you know your why? Do you know your niche? Have you done your SEO? Have you got your email marketing set up? Have you got good design, good branding? Tick off those things and have a clear action plan for yourself. And then that leads into the next one, that is to actually have actionable goals for yourself. Now, I know a lot of people have heard about goal setting, and maybe we get a little tired of it sometimes, but yeah, it is powerful. But one thing that I'll say to do differently than a lot of other some people might not always say, is to actually make super tiny goals, so that every single one you achieve is like, you're actually progressing, and you're rewarding yourself for making progress. It's one of the big reasons that so many people fail with starting a Shopify store, starting anything online, or starting any business, is that they get led astray by these, the Shopify gurus that show them that they're millionaires and all that. And all I need to do was have this one product and I was a millionaire in 30 days and all the crap that they say. For the average person, you are not going to be earning $100,000 a month in 30 days. It's just not possible. But if you have instead of having these pie in the sky crazy things that are outlandish that you're going to get to in 30 days or 3 months or whatever, have little manageable things to get to. So hey, it's just, number one is I got my Shopify store live. That's a win. Number two goal is I made my first $100 on Shopify. Could be even $50. Could even just be your first sale. There's one, you're happy with yourself, you've made progress, you're going to feel like you're winning, and you are winning, and you're going to move forward again. Then the next one could be make my first 500, make my first 1,000, make my first 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and so on. Or it could be monthly goal. You could be, I'll make my first $100 a month, $200 a month, $500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Just create a stepwise, you're moving up, little tiered milestones, if you want to call it that. And I promise you do that for yourself. You're going to give a little dopamine hits every time you actually achieve it. And then, you're going to feel like you're actually rewarding yourself. Instead of having these $1 million business in 30 days, crazy thing that then you feel upset when you don't reach that. And then you feel like this is not working for me and you give up. Have little milestone wins that every time you do that, you reward yourself. You congratulate yourself on doing that, and then you keep moving forward. That is going to allow you to have that momentum to keep moving forward when things get difficult, when things get tough, and you're going to enjoy it so much more than having these crazy goals. There's nothing wrong with wanting to create $1 million business for yourself, but don't think you're going to do that overnight. Don't let the gurus convince you that that's what you're going to do. Have actionable, real things, like little milestones that you reward yourself along the way. And I promise you, it'll be so much easier, so much more enjoyable to keep going with your Shopify store. So number 8, and this one is, arguably one of the most important ones. Just like number 1, like know your why I said it's a foundational thing. I'd say this is yet another one of your foundational things that you need to ensure you have, and that is mindset. And because I see so many different people, because again, I've said a few times now that I hang around on Reddit quite a bit, and I like to try and give value through there, making posts, but also answering questions and things like that. And even just the other day, I saw a post that had a guy was saying, what should I get started with online, making money online? It seems like everything's already done. There's no point making YouTube tutorials because that's already saturated. There's no point doing this because that's saturated. Well, there's no point doing drop shipping because that's saturated. There's no point selling things online because that's saturated. I read it through it all and ended up saying, comment just basically saying to him, you know, like these problems you're saying, these niche, like you're saying that these things you're saying of like the market's saturated and all those things, they're not actually a problem. Your problem is your mindset, your belief that, you know, these things could actually be full, these niches are full. Like having that mindset is, you just already setting yourself up to fail. You, like, there is honestly no end and no shortage in opportunities out there. And there's, you know, some people could say, well, Shopify's been around for a long time, quite a few years now. Like, there's, you know, I'm too late to it. And the thing is, it's really still only just getting started, and people are moving more and more to buying things online, and that's only going to increase even more and even more. So this is the best time ever to be starting. So that you need to, like, just giving you that example of that guy saying that, is like his mindset, he wasn't realizing that his mindset was already stopping him from achieving. And so what I'm saying to you watching this is that you need to get your mindset dialed in, and that means, you know, not having negative minded thinking of like, you know, it's too late for things and it's like it's already saturated. If you go in there with a true need, you with a desire to serve the marketplace of real value, the opportunities are endless. Really, there's always going to be ways to make money online. There's always going to be people wanting to buy things. So it's just about having that mindset and that approach to know that and believe that in yourself. And so when I talk about mindset, I mean resilience. So knowing, you know, to have that resilient mindset when things get tough, to keep going, which is knowing your why is part of that. Know your why. It's going to be much easier to bear the how. And so, you know, having the resilience, that's part of it. Grit, perseverance, that's all part of mindset. But then it also, you know, one thing that I always like to do whenever I'm like going to start something, or I want to learn about something, or whatever it is, or I'm starting something new, I always just dive super deep into absolutely knowing every possible thing I can know about the topic. And so from this perspective, for you guys, if you're getting started, you want to start a shop, like a successful Shopify store, go out there and find all the top Shopify podcasts and all the top Shopify people and people that you want to learn from. So I like, you know, I make valuable YouTube videos, and I want to make the most valuable tutorials and deep dives. But then there's people that also offer, you know, they got other further perspectives, and people that are, you know, they got podcasts, and they got, you know, there's people out there writing books. And, you know, if you want, I talked about marketing, I talked about copywriting, like all these different things. Start to bring your, like, just make your world all about like seeing people's success, seeing people's, I say indoctrinating yourself into success. So just surround yourself by people that are doing well, and obviously don't get all into the hypey gurus, but there's plenty of genuine people out there that are giving value and things like that. But mindset is definitely super important for starting anything online, starting any new business. Is you need to have your mindset dialed in. That is a mindset and a belief in yourself, you know, a vision for where you want to take things, knowing your why, having resilience, and, you know, don't sink into that like negative victim mindset of like it's too late for things and all these sorts of things. It's okay if you might start to think that at first. We all like, you know, we can feel that way about ourselves first. But if you start to get your mindset dialed in, you know, you're listening to uplifting material that keeps you positive, all those sorts of things, they're going to help you so much for when things get difficult, when things get tough, inevitably that they are along the way. Yeah, so mindset is just super important, and that's why I wanted to end on this one. So that is my 8 tips for getting started with a Shopify store. Now, I hope that you've found these tips super valuable. I wanted to give as much value as I could away completely for free. Hopefully there's some things in there you haven't heard before, and you find it genuinely helpful and valuable. If you did, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. And I just thought I'd end this video by saying that, if you've taken value from this, just know that I have a link down below that you can get started. It's got the best possible deal for getting started with Shopify. And again, I don't do anything if I don't believe in it. Obviously, it is an affiliate link. So yes, I'd make some kickback for it, but I have that link there so that I can give you a real, promo to get you started. At this time of recording, it's 3 days free, and then it's after that, you actually get $1 a month for 3 months, which is awesome. Plenty of time to start your Shopify store. And then one last thing I wanted to say is on top of that, because I wanted to, obviously, I gave away value in this for free, but obviously there's even more you need to know. And so those of you who are new here, which you probably, most of you watching this video are, I actually have a 7-hour tutorial. Yes, 7 hours that goes into absolutely everything you need to get started with Shopify. So that'd be perfect to go with, if you sign up with the link below and then you get started with you getting started with Shopify. I've got your back. I wanted to create the most valuable possible Shopify tutorial on YouTube, and that's what I've done. I've gone into everything, the absolute foundations, gone into design, deep design. I've gone into SEO. I've gone into email marketing, everything you actually need to get started with a Shopify store as an absolute beginner. So anyway, guys, I'll end this video here. Hopefully you found it valuable. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. And I wish you the very best success with your Shopify store. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.